Most contractors are throwing money at lead generation without really understanding what they're buying or how each method actually performs. The problem isn't that you need more leads, it's really that you need the right leads from the right source for your business. After working with over 100 contractors across basically every lead generation method, I've seen what works, what fails, and why. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 6 ways contractors get leads in 2026 so you can see exactly what you're getting yourself into with each one. Method number 1, word of mouth and referrals. Referrals are the gold standard, and it's not just because they convert better in theory. Referrals convert better because trust has already been transferred. Think about what's actually happening when someone refers you. The homeowner didn't reach out after researching you for weeks. They didn't binge your content, stalk your Instagram, or read 47 reviews. They did something more powerful. They needed work done and they asked someone they trust, a friend, a family member, a neighbor, someone in their network who already had a good experience with a contractor. So when that homeowner gets your name, they're not starting from zero, they're borrowing trust from the person who referred you. And by virtue of that referral, you've already bridged the trust gap before you ever answered the phone. And that matters because homeowners are skeptical, they're gun shy, they've heard horror stories, and a lot of them have their own. Maybe it's a contractor who took the deposit and never showed up again, or someone built their deck for next to nothing, it collapses 3 months later, and suddenly the phone lines disconnected. You name it, the market is full of pain from people who've been taken advantage of by contractors. So when a homeowner can get a referral from someone they trust, they jump on it because it reduces the anxiety of what if I picked the wrong person? But here's the catch, referrals don't scale. You can't build a predictable business hoping the phone rings because someone happened to mention you. Some months your phone won't stop ringing, other months it goes completely silent. And it feels like there's nothing you can do to control it. Take Mike, one of my clients. Mike was stuck at exactly this problem, doing great work, getting referrals, but he couldn't predict if he'd do 50K in one month or 150K in any other given month. He was trapped at the same revenue level for 5 years straight because relying on word of mouth and referrals. And this brings me to this point. This is exactly why contractors start looking at the 5 other methods. The key point of the video is this: every method after referrals is basically cold traffic, meaning the trust is not being transferred because it doesn't exist. It has to be manufactured. You have to close the trust gap on purpose. And that brings us to method 2, and this is where a lot of guys get sold on convenience without realizing the trust problem they're stepping into. Method 2 is lead generation services like Angie's, Service Magic, Yelp, you name it. These platforms sell you convenience. Just pay per lead and we'll send you customers. And I get why contractors buy it, because you're thinking, I don't want to be a marketer. I just want to get the phone to ring. But here's what you're actually buying most of the time: shared leads, meaning one homeowner fills out one form and then that same request gets blasted to 5, 6, sometimes 8 contractors instantly. And it's not you just got a lead, it's you got entered into a race. Who calls first? Who answers first? Who can get out there first? And meanwhile, the homeowner is getting absolutely hammered. Calls, texts, voicemails, back to back to back. Now here's the trust problem nobody talks about. When homeowners are overwhelmed, they stop comparing the important stuff. They're not evaluating your process, your reviews, your craftsmanship, your professionalism. They're trying to reduce chaos. So they grab the simplest thing to compare. And the simplest thing to compare is price. That's why method 2 turns into a price war. Not because homeowners only care about being cheap, but because when trust is low and options feel infinite, price becomes the only clean metric. And yes, homeowners want value. They want the best work for the fairest price. The cheapest doesn't always win, but when you're one of 8 strangers calling them in the same hour, they don't have the emotional bandwidth to decode value. They default to the number. Now let's talk about the economics for you, because the math gets ugly fast. A lot of these platforms charge $40 to $50 per lead, sometimes more. But if you buy 10 leads and only 2 people are real and actually pick up, you didn't pay $40 to $50 per lead. You paid $200 to $250 per actual conversation. And that's before you count the time, the calling, the chasing, the follow-up, the voicemails. Then when you finally do get someone on the phone, what do you hear? Yeah, You're like the eighth contractor to call me. So now it's not exclusive, it's not fresh, it's not calm, it's not a trust-based conversation, it's a feeding frenzy. And then comes the part contractors hate the most, the refund circus. Because half of these leads are spam, dead numbers, or people who never respond. And you dispute it, and suddenly you're in a maze. Screenshots, forms, waiting, not eligible, denied, insufficient proof. Sometimes you get your money back, a lot of times you don't. And what I hear over and over and over again from contractors is they don't treat my business with respect, because to them, you're just a number. You're not a partner. So you get hit twice. The leads aren't great and the experience is disrespectful. And that's why so many contractors try it once and say, never again. And here's the real takeaway. This matters for the whole video. Method 2 isn't a lead problem. It's a trust problem. Referrals are easy because trust is transferred. This is the opposite. Does it work sometimes? Sure. Someone always gets the job. I'm not saying never use it. I'm saying don't get sold the fantasy, because this channel is stacked against you. It can absolutely produce real deals, but it's rarely clean. It's rarely consistent. And it's almost never like a trust first environment. So if you choose to play here, play with your eyes open. Know what you're getting into, because if you're expecting referral level trust, this channel will humble you fast. And that's why for most contractors, this ends up being the most expensive easy button they ever press. Now we move on to method 3, Google search. This is your Google ads and SEO, which means search engine optimization. Google is where homeowners go when they finally have reached the point of, all right, I'm ready to do this. And most of the time they're searching on Google because they don't have someone in their network, a friend, a neighbor, a family member, who can refer the perfect contractor for their specific project. Now, for a lot of the guys I work with, deck builders, landscapers, fencing guys, siding guys, window guys, you name it, these aren't emergency services. They're not panic purchases. They're lifestyle upgrades. They're wants, not really needs, meaning the homeowner typically isn't freaking out. They've hit the last straw of some sort and they're ready to take action. So they go to Google and type in maybe deck builder near me, best fencing company in, fill in the blank city, window replacement contractor, siding installer near me. You get the point. On paper, Google sounds perfect because the intent is high. These people are actively looking. Now, when it comes to actually getting in front of them, you've got two paths. Option number 1 is SEO. That's the long game. SEO can absolutely work if you rank in the top 3 map results, but it's the slow game. It usually takes 6 to 12 months and it requires ongoing content and optimization. And here's the real risk nobody really talks about. You often don't know if the person you hired actually knows what they're doing until you've been burned by waiting 6 months. And that's exactly why so many contractors get stuck hearing, just give it more time, with not much to show for it. Option number 2 is Google Ads. This is the fast game. Google ads are the opposite. They can put you at the top of the search immediately, but the trade-off is cost. In most markets, you're paying something like $20 to $50 per click, and that leads to the nuance that most contractors miss. So yes, SEO and Google ads can work, but the real challenge is that homeowners are collecting multiple quotes by default. By the time a homeowner goes to Google, they're in shopping mode. So they begin their search, and if they're even half smart, they're opening 3, 4, 10 tabs. They can quickly scan, they fill out a few forms, they call a couple companies, and in about 60 seconds, you know what happens? You're no longer competing for a lead, you're competing for a bidding war yet again. It's basically the same dynamic as Angie's, just dressed up differently. And here's the thing, a click, again, is not a lead. If you're paying $20 to $50 per click, how many clicks does it take to get a form fill or a call? Then how many leads does it take to get an appointment? And how many appointments does it take to get a sale? This is how guys end up with what feels like a $1,500 cost per acquisition in a lot of cases. So if you're spending $1,500 a month on Google, you might close one deal, maybe. And if you don't close one, you just lit money on fire. And that's why you can be in bloody waters on Google, especially in contracting, when there are thousands of competitors in your area. You're buying into one of the most competitive moments in the buyer's journey in a very saturated landscape. Now, here is where Google is absolutely unrivaled. This is the place for emergencies. Tree falls through your roof, bursted pipe. They're not scrolling Instagram, they're panicking, and now they're going straight to Google. But most home improvement work, especially what my clients do, is not that. A lot of it lives in what is called the in-between window. It's not, I need it today. It's more like, I need to handle this in the next 30, maybe 90 days because it's just been on my to-do list. And that matters because most of these people are not on Google yet. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube, and they're not actively shopping, they're scrolling, which brings us to method 6 in a second. But first, now if you're watching this and thinking, I've tried some of these methods and I've gotten burned, or I need steady flow instead of this up and down cycle, I want to help you figure out which approach makes the most sense for your specific situation. I've helped over 100 contractors build predictable lead flow. If you are serious about taking control of your growth, click the link below and book a call with me. We'll look at your current situation, map out your best path forward, and show you exactly how to build the consistent lead flow for your business that you're looking for. If you're ready to scale your contracting business, book that call now. Method number 4, social media and content marketing. A lot of contractors do this one. They hire someone to manage their social media. They post job site photos, before and afters, reels, stuff like that. And listen, content can absolutely help build awareness and credibility. Do not get me wrong. But what I've seen without fail, when I ask contractors who've been paying for social media for years, how many leads a month do you get from it? Most can't attribute anything directly to it, which usually means it's a vanity metric because likes ain't leads. And so no one sees the content, or the right people don't see it. And then you're just burning time and money. So the real question is, if you are doing content, is it designed with the right copywriting principles underpinning it? So that when someone does see it, they get sucked into your universe and actually raise their hand and give you their information. You have funnel architecture behind what you're doing so that it makes it really easy for someone to give you their information. Are you pushing them to take a next step? Is it easy for someone to raise their hand and say, hey, I want an estimate? Most contractors do not have that. So organic socials become posting into the void. It's nice branding with very little ROI. Method number 5 is traditional, outdated methods such as door knocking and your direct mailers. Let's call this what it is, the old school stuff. Door knocking is simple. Maybe it worked in the 80s when someone could knock on your door and sell you a Shark vacuum. But in 2026, you've got no soliciting signs up everywhere, Ring cameras, people working from home, and homeowners who are already on edge. Nobody wants someone showing up uninvited. You don't want it, your sales reps don't want to do it, and the homeowners definitely don't want you there. So can you make it work in specific situations like you're already working in a neighborhood? Sure. But as a primary strategy, it's a grind. Direct mail, on the other hand, same vibe. It's a full send. You drop several $1,000s on mailers and maybe you get 1 or 2 leads if you're lucky, but most people toss it. So again, can it work? Sure, but it's hard to scale predictably and it's not the strongest foundation for a modern growing business. All right, so we're finally here. Method number 6, paid social media advertising. Facebook, Meta ads. This is one of the most misunderstood channels for contractors because they compare it to Google, but it's a totally different game. Google is capturing demand now that already exists right now. Meta is creating demand before someone is actively shopping. This is where contractors can manufacture trust at scale. And this is especially powerful for deck builders and outdoor living contractors, landscaping, fencing, siding, windows, you name it, because these are want purchases. They are not emergencies. They sit on someone's to-do list for a while, meaning there are way more potential customers who want what you're selling than people actively searching on Google today. And those people are on Facebook and Instagram every day, scrolling, not shopping. So with Meta, you can show up before they go into shopping mode. And when someone clicks on your ad on social, it usually doesn't trigger them to open 10 tabs and quote shop immediately. They click, they fill out the form, and then they go back to scrolling. And that's what makes this so powerful. In that moment, it's often an exclusive lead, not shared, not recycled, not you're the 8th contractor to call me. And the cost difference can be massive. I had a conversation recently with a deck builder client of mine out of San Antonio.
Oh, but you're also performing.
Yeah.
I mean, we went from getting 15 leads a month to getting 30 leads a week within a 14-day period of time.
Who was used to paying $300 to $500 per lead through Google, not even counting the management fee on top of that from the company who was generating them. And he'd get maybe 5 or 6 leads a month. First month of us working together, he spent $3,000 on ads, $100 a day, and got 160 leads. That's a completely different world. But here's the key. The magic isn't running ads. The key is your ability to capture and convert attention. Because on social media, people are not there to hire you. They are scrolling there to get their dopamine fix. So you need the ad creative that you create to stop their scroll and present them with an irresistible offer that gives them a reason to act now. Something that makes them feel like, okay, maybe this is a contractor I've been looking for. Positioning you as the contractor who does great work for a fair price. Leaning into their hope, leaning into the importance of trust, helping skeptical homeowners feel safe. And the moment they opt in, you own that lead. They gave you their info, their address, permission to call. And you call them immediately. Within the first 30 to 60 seconds, that speed matters. And when your funnel is designed right, you can also filter out people who should never opt in. That properly trains the algorithm. And once the algorithm learns what good looks like, that's when things shift from I hope the phone rings to we have more leads than we know what to do with. Then the problem becomes capacity. Do you have enough crews? Do you have enough sales coverage? Can you build the right systems? Can you get out of the owner operator mode and actually work on the business? Because that is the difference. A business that works for you instead of you always working for it. So there you have it, all 6 ways that contractors get leads in 2026. Each method has its own place, but the question is, which one is right for your business and your situation? The difference between contractors who scale and those who stay stuck isn't the method they choose, it's whether they actually implement it correctly. You can have the best lead generation strategy in the world, but if you don't execute it properly, you'll get the same disappointing results again and again. If you want help figuring out which approach makes the most sense for your business and how to implement it in the right way, book a call with me using the link below, and we'll look at your current situation, identify what's holding you back, and create a clear plan to get you consistent leads. Don't spend another year hoping things will change. Click the link below, book a call, and let's build a lead generation system that actually works for your business.